Welcome back everyone, hope your week's been full of W's because today we're diving into a huge fight that could change gaming forever. No, this isn't about me teabagging your Deathbox and Apex Legends, this is about game companies turning off servers, killing games you paid for, and how over 1 million people just stood up and told the world they aren't willing to take it anymore. For anyone who is aware of the Stop Killing Games initiative, the premise is fairly simple. Just imagine paying for a game, loving it, playing it with your friends, and one day, bang, the company just pulls the plug and your game is dead forever. Even if it doesn't need online to run, if it checks servers to launch, you're done. Well, SKG is pushing for laws in the EU to force publishers to keep games you bought playable. Even if they stop supporting online features, the idea is that studios will be required to leave the game in some form of playable state or allow players to maintain it themselves if they choose to. The specific laws around this aren't defined, but this is just an initiative. The idea is to secure enough petitions to force a review of the laws by people who can define them. Essentially, it's about game preservation and protecting your ownership. This all started when Ubisoft killed the crew in April 2024. YouTuber Ross Scott from Accursed Farms launched this initiative, which requires 1 million valid EU signatures to force the EU to review the proposal. We all know gamers everywhere are sick of feeling like AAA studios are looking for any chance to raise a middle finger to their fans, and this proved to be a massive rallying point for the community. Over the last few years, it's become more and more apparent to gamers that the corporate side of the industry just doesn't respect us. It feels like these days we are seeing controversies more frequently than Warzone telling you their new playlist update requires a restart. The concept of you'll own nothing and be happy is obnoxiously taking centre stage on our PCs and consoles, and honestly, it's not surprising that the video game piracy is on the rise again. Players are realising that the games they pay hard-earned money for are not even truly theirs and can be taken away from them with no prior warning, which is why all over gaming spaces we're seeing the phrase, if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. The world is rapidly becoming way more expensive. It's only getting worse and more people are struggling to engage with the hobby financially. When this is running alongside companies like Ubisoft, EA and Activision, which repeatedly spew out underwhelming products and downright malicious business practices, all the while telling us it's our fault and we should feel sorry for them, it's not hard to see why gamers are finally taking a stand against it. With Nintendo releasing the Switch 2, they also kindly let us know that they'll brick your console if you attempt to modify it, and their games are now going to retail at $80 a hit, and honestly, this is just the beginning. The industry has been waiting in the shadows for a big name to lay this at our feet so they can justify doing it themselves. I think people will be more accepting of the price increase, but when we're being presented with games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which look like they were made for a fucking N64, it gets under people's skin. That being said, the SKG initiative did spread like cordyceps in The Last of Us. Gaming channels covered it, social media did its thing, the numbers started climbing and things were promising, but ultimately stalled, and according to YouTuber Bellialar, we hit 450,000 signatures in June this year, falling well short of the million required with only a few weeks to go. But thanks to some big names like Pewdiepie, Jacksepticeye, and ironically PirateSoftware, which we'll get to in a moment, it drew attention back to the task at hand, and we hit a huge resurgence this week and it blasted past 1 million. However, in a recent video by Ross, he revealed he had received reports that not every signature will be valid under EU rules, so he and the team are now pushing hard to hit around the 1.3 to 1.4 million mark before July 31st cutoff. They believe this will guarantee the 1 million valid signatures needed and finally get this over the line. Of course, nothing on the internet can exist without controversy, and as this is relevant to the story, it's worth bringing up. PirateSoftware recently spoke out against the initiative, stating it was misguided, naive and vague. Initially, it appeared to many, including myself, that he had potentially misinterpreted what SKG were aiming to achieve, but since then he seems to have doubled down on his position and even stated that he is planning to actively oppose and mobilise against the initiative.
Setting precedent. If you're going to be putting forward something that you want to start a conversation to eventually become legislation, and these are the reasons for it, not only can I not agree with the initiative, but I can't agree with you. And I think that the tactics that you're using here are really disgusting. So yes, I won't agree with that. And I won't agree with Ross. There's no way around that. I think this is gross.
Pirate argues that forcing companies to keep games online might lead to worse anti-consumer practices, higher costs, or legal headaches for smaller devs, which could price them out of the live service market entirely. Personally, I find this very disappointing to hear. Whether you like him or not, he does have a presence and experience in the industry, and I generally appreciate his insight regardless of whether I agree with him. The guy sadly seems to be crashing out in ways I haven't seen for a long time, and obviously I strongly disagree with him in this instance, and Ross has responded to Pirate's criticisms of SK SKG with a lengthy video of his own, and if there's anyone on the fence or siding with Pirate, I suggest you check that out before coming to a final decision. That being said, I've noticed almost every video I've seen relating to the initiative has comment threads calling him out and attacking his character. Honestly, I'm not going to tell anybody what opinions they should have regarding the guy, but what I will say is that I feel the energy people are putting into those comments could probably be redirected towards accomplishing something bigger than one streamer and getting this initiative across the line. Old news somehow has stayed fresh, and I can't remember a time a streamer caught this much heat, especially from a roach out on World of Warcraft, and he has become something of a meme in the public eye. I personally would value the success of the gaming community at large over the downfall of a single streamer, so it's just something to think about. In my opinion, nobody should be getting death threats over a video game, especially not from people who are just watching it like you would a TV show. That's fucking insane. All that aside, it does seem that him speaking out against SKG has actually created more exposure to it, and due to people's unrelenting resentment for him, it looks like it may have actually contributed to its resurgence, so take what you will from that. As a side note, this weekend, Video Games Europe has released a statement and claims private servers are not always a viable alternative option for players, as the protections they put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content and leave rights holders liable. This really bothers me. It comes across as classic bureaucratic speech to intentionally mislead readers. Most people, like myself, will automatically assume if players take the reins of an online service, the liability of developers will be mitigated in some way, and if SKG succeeds, this will be addressed when it comes to designing the laws around it. Let's be real here for a minute. Video games aren't just products. They aren't just entertainment. They are culture, they are art, and they have sentimental value, both communally and personally. When a company shuts a game down forever, they aren't just taking your purchase away from you, they are erasing a piece of you. Years ago, I had the same thing happen to me in a very niche game called White Knight Chronicles 2. It was a game I truly cherished. The community was awesome. The game was super fun to play, and truth be told, some of the end game can only be completed by engaging with its multiplayer. The EU and the NA servers were shut down with very little warning. Everybody was devastated, and all of that time spent in the game was taken away from me at, frankly, a time in my life when I really needed it. And they didn't just take the game away from me, but I lost several online friends as well. If any of you watching this video have ever experienced this, you'll understand just how rough it feels when you realise you forgot to add your boy Long Dong Silver 69 to your friends list, and now you'll never have the means of partying up with them ever again. Stop Killing Games is about fighting for your consumer rights and making sure that when you pay for a game, it stays yours, just like buying any other product that doesn't have a digital license attached to it. It's that simple. At the time of recording, the EU petition is almost at 1.2 million, and the UK one is almost at 170,000. Honestly, as a UK resident, I, like many others, recognise that our political system is severely inept, and even though we've hit the 100k requirement, I don't see much good coming from it, so if you're a EU citizen, I strongly urge you to do your part in making this happen for the rest of us. We're all counting on you, and you haven't let us down, so I'm extremely grateful. Keep it up. The link is in the description if you want to sign the petition to help the cause, and the deadline is on the 31st of July, so time is running out. Of course, this video is based off my own opinions and experiences, and I'd love to hear yours too. Do you have a game that was snatched away from you like I had? Were you a victim of the crew being shut down? What are your thoughts on the Stop Killing Games initiative as a whole? Everyone's opinions are always welcome, so feel free to share them here in the comments down below, and while you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. I hope you've all enjoyed your weekends, and when you're done stomping bot lobbies, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!